are dying, and our survival depends on them. That's why 4RB's created the Pure Wave Cell, a breakthrough quantum device proven to help hives thrive, doubling colonies and boosting honey production naturally. Every jar of our Pure Wave honey fuels this mission, supporting beekeepers worldwide. Visit 4RBs.com. That's the number 4RBs.com, and use code WITF for 20% off. Save the bees! Save us all!
Where in the Folk is not and should not be viewed as a news source. Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are purely fictional, and any information discussed is purely speculative. Guest opinions are their own and do not reflect those of anyone else. Where in the Folk is not responsible for content accuracy of any stories that are told or what people do with these stories. This show is vulgar, sometimes graphic, and due to its content, it should not be viewed by anyone, actually.
Welcome to another episode of Where in the Folk, and thank you for joining myself, Morgana, and Steven as we go into a very strange place. I hope everybody's had a great week. Tully will be back soon, I think. I went and visited him. I don't know what's going on with him, but he was wearing like a hazmat suit head to toe when I seen him. and like something to breathe with, like I think he's finally went off the deep end for a little bit, but we'll
some days it bees that way.
I did get a nice 6-string banjo off of him. So it was a good visit.
Good deal.
6-string banjo.
Yeah, it's played like a guitar. Yeah, it's strung like a guitar, played like a guitar. It's just on a banjo. Yeah,
just EADGBE.
Pretty stoked about it. I'm still working.
Really?
I'm waiting on the new strings to come in, But this ain't a banjo show. I guess I should deviate from that. I like banjo.
I mean, but banjos.
It actually made me want to restore my other banjo, my 5-string. So I got them strings right before I came in here. So I'm gonna fix that up tonight. Let's see.
Yeah,
So
anyway,
I don't know.
There are places in the British Isles where the rules don't quite hold, where roads lead somewhere they shouldn't, or figures stand just a little too still, and where something old, patient, and unseen seems to watch just beyond the edge of things. These things, there aren't just ghost stories. They're moments with reality slips where time folds and people come back with the same quiet warning. You weren't supposed to be there. As we discuss the mystery of the British Isles. Where do you guys want to get started at with that?
Y'all go ahead. I'm doing something.
Somebody get started on something. I've lost audio. I'll be right back.
Didn't you say he had some trouble with audio last month too?
Yes, it started whenever Robin came on, and and he still hasn't fixed it.
So is it like the Scott Baker anomaly when Robin comes on?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so
at this
the
point,
black shuck. Have you heard of the black shuck? So it is a spectral hound said to roam the coastline of East Anglia. Witnesses describe a massive black dog with burning red eyes, silent except for the sound of claws on stone. In 1577, during a violent storm, it is said to have burst into a church in Bungay, killing 2 parishioners where they stood before vanishing as suddenly as it arrived. And some say that seeing the shuck is an omen of death. Others say it's not there to warn you, it's there to collect.
So it's kind of like their version of the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And that was a new one. I had not heard of that one.
You might be a kid or a little street sweeper, but one day you'll get your date with the Reaper.
That's right. That is exactly right. Hey, Ronnie.
That is true. Everybody has a date.
Uh-huh. They do. They do. You know, and it's really funny because my dad used to notoriously comment about, okay, well, if you believe in fate, then walk out there and step in front of a bus and see what happens, because the good Lord gave you common sense for a reason. Like, okay, I guess you're not wrong.
Yeah. Hey, Linda.
Hey, Lander.
Hey, Linda.
Yeah.
Am I back? Can you all hear me?
Yes. Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of feedback from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. The big black dog. Yeah. Somebody had a song about the black dog. Who was that?
You know what? I could have told you if you hadn't asked.
Yeah. They've also had reports of big cats in the British Isles, and primarily in Great Britain, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You know, there have been different excuses and stuff for that right there as to why it could have been escaped, or maybe somebody brought them there and turned them loose.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There are some decent photographs, but the debate's still out there, as to whether or not it's actually just a house cat, where you can't really tell how big or small it is. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's that.
Yep. You know, there's go ahead,
I've seen videos of those cats, like the big black cats and things like that over there. I mean, it's really hard to dispute that those are actually out there at this point, because there was a lot of videos for that back in even like their early 2000s.
Yes.
And I don't think it's really far-fetched further to be jaguars and things of this nature.
Right.
There.
Exactly. Also, the British Isles, crop circles, they gained a large popularity back in the 80s and 90s, and even in 2000s, I think. Of course, they had people who would come forward and claim to, that they had made the crop circles, but not everything fit with just having the string on a board and stomping down crops. So it was because some of them, they were molecularly changed, and that wasn't done by somebody with a stomper, walking through making patterns.
Oh, now come on.
Yeah, that's a funny point, because there was two dudes a long time ago on a show I was watching that was like showing, oh yeah, we use these boards and these ropes to do this, and they set up the camera and filmed them doing it overnight. You could obviously see them doing it all. They did, but then there was the video of one being done where you didn't see anybody out there doing that. It's just like they were falling over. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know when it comes to that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, if one crop circle is authentic, then that means we have a mystery on our hands that nobody has solved or come forward with yet. So,
I wonder why crop circles don't. I wonder why they're not as reported on like they used to be. I wonder if they still happen frequently. I'm going to check that.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing, to check. Come forward and check. Some people have thought, it was putting forth mathematics, which is I guess the universal language of the universe would be mathematics. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Morgana? Because there have been UFO.
I think that they're still happening. I just think that there's so much going on in the world right now that things that, to me, have legitimacy, and to me, crop circles did, because I'm like you, they show where there is molecular change and everything. Yeah, I saw the guys that got out there with a board and everything too, but it wasn't just, nothing about it was quite right. Because these were laid over. They were not broken, and a lot of the ones were when they used the boards and everything. Mm-hmm. So I think it's still happening. I just think there's so much noise right now in the world that you don't hear about legitimate stuff. And that's a good way to hide it too, because they tell us, oh, aliens are real, but they don't show us how they know aliens are real.
Right. Hey, Mandy. the heat that would be required most of the time would have destroyed the crop, but somehow
Yes.
it didn't. So
Yep.
that was the other interesting thing about the crop circle, and the simple fact that someone or some things have the technology to do that, to actually put something out there that's going to be a mystery for all of us to try to figure out and to argue over is that's interesting in itself. So
Crop circles still occur to this day. They usually happen between April and August in England. Every year. They sum them, most of them up to people doing it, which some people are out here doing it just to make things look fancy, but there are still unexplained crop circles that pop up.
Yeah,
that's neat.
see
It's been so long since I've heard about a crop circle. It kind of just fell out of my view until right now. I don't know how that happened, because crop circles used to be my jam, my peanut butter.
Right.
Yeah, I think there are so many things happening in the world today that distract us from the things we used to look at. That we're probably all guilty of being consumed by the latest thing. That's
Without question.
I agree with that one.
Question. Okay. So. Black Dog was Led Zeppelin, by the way.
Yeah, Black Dog.
Led Zeppelin. Okay, Black Dog.
Zip.
So, I'm doing something. So,
there's a cryptid that is the namesake of one of my favorite coffee brands, actually.
Folgers?
Spring Hill Jack. Spring Hill Jack.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Spring Hill Jack, y'all?
I have not.
Yes.
He was a Victorian era terror that could leap over rooftops, described with claws, glowing eyes, and sometimes breathing blue fire. So this all occurred in London in 1837. The city was already a place of smoke and shadows. Back then, gas lamps flickered them against fog. Blah blah blah. That's when something new began to move through it. At first it was dismissed as a rumor. Women reported being attacked at night by a figure that they didn't believe behaved like a man. It jumped, not just over fences, but across streets, as the Michael Jordan of his time. Over the rooftops he would go. Witnesses described a tall, thin figure with glowing red eyes, clawed hands. Some said he wore a cloak. Others described it as a tight-fitting suit, almost mechanical in appearance. And then there was the fire. Several reports claimed the figure could breathe blue flames from its mouth, short bursts, something like an unnatural, or forcing its way out, like he's burping fire. Burp, burp, burp. Several reports claimed the figure could breathe blue flames, like I just said. The panic spread fast enough that even the Lord Mayor of London addressed it publicly, warning citizens, hey, don't go out at night. You might get attacked by this thing jumping everywhere. But no one could catch him because he didn't run. Right. He was a jumper. One of the famous came from a young woman who reported that being grabbed, her clothing was torn, her attacker laughing a high unnatural sound before springing away into darkness. In another case, a carriage driver claimed that the figure leapt directly into his path, causing his horse to panic. Before he could even react, it vaulted over a nearby wall and disappeared. Some believe it was a wealthy prankster using early spring-loaded boots or mechanical devices even. Others believe it was something far stranger, because no human should be able to move like that. And right here is kind of a depiction of what they said he looked like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like if somebody using springs, that you would think that they would mess up sooner or later. You remember pogo sticks, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I about broke stuff.
Yes.
Pogo sticks.
Yeah. So to me, if it was somebody on the springs or something like that, sooner or later they're going to mess up and they're going to take a hard fall, and somebody is going to figure out who it was.
Especially back then, because they didn't have a lot of paved places and sidewalks and hard surfaces.
Mhm.
You know, so I would think that, yeah, like I said, if it were springs, that you would have a little bit of difficulty bouncing around.
Yeah. Sooner or later, he's going to have a mishap.
Hmm. Or at
Well-
least I would, because I know me, and you know, Mo does refer to me as Stumbleina for a reason.
Well, you know what's really strange about Spring Hill Jack too is hoax, you know, typically don't last nearly as long as these sightings. The sightings for Spring Hill Jack continue for decades, and it never really shifted in detail. Not really, not even in tone. Really, it was always at night, always sudden, and always just slightly out of reach. So, I mean, back then, what do you think that could have been? I mean, do you think that somebody had some cool space sneakers, or what do you think was that?
The first Air Jordans ever.
Yeah, I was thinking PF Flyer. Sandlot. But jump higher. But that the Spring Hill was my favorite from and look up, it's expensive though. Specialty item. That's good stuff. I like blue-eyed Mothman.
Yeah.
A blue-eyed Mothman.
Blue-eyed Mothman boy.
Cool.
It's actually a podcast sponsored for that company. Last Palmolive, I think. They used to call it Red Eye Blend, but they got sued.
Really?
Yeah, the Mothman people didn't like it.
Wow. Oh goodness.
That's a fun
So-
one though.
Yeah. The Conwy Affanc, AFANC. So
Oh.
it is said there was a period in time when the good folk who lived along the Conwy Valley were constantly plagued with terrible floods that both drowned their livestock and ruined their crops. The cause of this destruction to people's farms and livelihood was not, however, a natural occurrence. All the floods were caused by the Affanc. So this was a legendary Welsh water monster. Some have likened it to the Loch Ness because it lived in the Welsh just is way above my head. So we're just going to say the Affanc Pool in the River Conwy. It was a gigantic beast who, when annoyed, was strong enough to break the banks of the pool, causing the floods. Many attempts have been made to kill him, but it seemed that his hide was so tough that no spear, arrow, or any man-made weapon could pierce it. So the wise men of the valley held a meeting and decided that if force wouldn't work, then they must somehow entice it out of his pool and remove it to a lake far away beyond the mountains where he couldn't cause any trouble. So they chose the new home under the shadow of Mount Snowdon. So preparations started. They had the finest blacksmith in the land forge a strong iron chains that would be required to bind and secure him. Then sent for Hugh Garden and his 2 longhorned oxen, the mightiest oxen in Wales. Then one minor problem, though, was how they were going to get it out of the lake, bind him with the chains, and then hitch him to the oxen. Well, it appears that the Affanc, like many other ugly old monsters, was very partial to beautiful young women. And one maiden in particular, the daughter of a local farmer, was brave enough to volunteer for the quest. So she approaches the lake while her father and the rest of the men remained hidden a short distance away, stands on the shore, and she calls to him softly. The waters begin to heave and churn, and through it all appeared a huge head of a monster. Although tempted to turn and run, the girl bravely stood her ground and gazed fiercely at the monster's green-black eyes and begun to sing gently a Welsh lullaby. Slowly, the massive body crawled out of the lake towards the girl and said that she sang so sweetly that he slowly sank to the ground in slumber. So she signaled her father, and he and the rest of the men emerged from their hiding places and set about binding the Affanc with forged iron chains. They had just finished when he awoke, and with a roar of fury at being tricked, the monster slid back into the lake. But fortunately, the chains were long, and a few of the men had been quick enough to hitch them to the mighty oxen. So So the oxen braced their muscles and began to pull, and slowly he was dragged out of the water, but it took the strength of the oxen and every available man to pull him onto the bank. So then they took him to the other side of the mountain and said that so the strain was so bad that one of the oxen's eyes popped out from the strain. Said, but they made it close to the summit of Snowdon, and then the chains were loosened, and with a roar, the monster leapt straight into the deep blue water that was to become his new home.
Nice.
I had never heard of that one.
So was this one like shaped like Nessie or what?
No, hang on. I have a picture from that old court. Let's see. Let me get the share thing going.
So he got lured.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
Not a smart one. Wasn't a smart one, that's for sure. Most of these cryptids are pretty smart. They don't get caught.
Yeah, let me see if I can make her bigger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, from the looks of it, it wasn't even all that big. It was just strong as hell.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's got the claws and the teeth. And I guess if you look at it, that tail goes way back further in there. Because, I mean, you know, it's back in, let's see. Yep, back in there is where the end of the tail is coming out of the water. And then there's a loop there. And so, yeah, it's bigger than just what's on the bank.
It could be a big old lady, too, though.
That's true.
Amazon.
I'm not sure the Welsh.
That's a curious one. That's a curiosity one. I haven't heard that one.
I had not heard of that one either. So that was the reason I held on to it.
That's good.
Because, you know, something different. Because, you know, and I mean, okay, the first thing people think when they think British Isles encrypted, Loch Ness.
Oh, always, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd be remiss not to mention Loch Ness, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We got to mention Nessie.
I mean, everybody knows the famous photo. Right here's the famous photo of Nessie. Some would argue that that's a toy, not to me. That's a creature. So Nessie, plesiosaur, maybe, who knows? But it's trapped within the loch of Ness.
Maybe unless they're underground water-filled passageways where it can move to a different area.
That's what a lot of people believe. And the first recorded sightings of Nessie are ancient, really, happening in 565 AD. St. Columbia reportedly drove a water beast away from a swimmer. What a hero that saint was. Loch Ness itself is deep, cold, and peat dark, making it perfect for a mystery like this, obviously. And like Steven said, this ain't even like speculation anymore. There are tunnels in Loch Ness, and people just don't know where they go. They could go out to the sea. They could go anywhere.
Yep.
Right.
So perfect place for something like this to hide.
Right.
So, but there was an explosion in 1930s after that picture I just showed. I'm pretty sure was the one that was taken after there was a road built along the loch, and that's the surgeon's photo. I believe is this is the surgeon's photo, right? Has to be.
So.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But it's a long old neck, humps that break water, smooth and deliberate, not like waves. Sonar contacts in the 20th century detected large moving objects in the loch.
Right.
So there's a lot of theories of what it could be and things of that nature, but you know, I choose to believe it's a ghost of a plesiosaur.
or an actual one that's still around today. You know, they've been accused. Nessie's been accused of being everything from a Greenland shark to a giant eel to
an elephant,
a sturgeon.
I
hear sturgeon a lot.
Yeah.
But sturgeon don't come out of the water like that.
No, not like that. So I think we could cross a sturgeon off the list for sure. You know, this right here. You know, this is the photo. They say, well, it's an elephant because there was a circus in town. It's always a circus in town. Anytime you have an unknown creature that pops up.
Okay, how is it I never thought about till this minute? I've never heard the elephant theory.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's one of the theories that's been thrown around.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
and I'm sitting here looking at this picture going, okay, in a world, sure, but no, that as deep as Loch Ness is, there's no way it's an elephant.
Yeah.
well, you would think the elephant swimming is one of the first bunks I ever heard about it when I was a kid, and I'm across a deep lake, and I can't find it now. Let me see if I can find it now. Of course, I'm not going to find something from like 30 years ago. That's just not going to happen. Let's see. These things do swim. I can't find a video, but but it was in Loch Ness in Scotland. And it continues to happen. Is there just chilling out on the banks every now and again, or does the circus come to town, let them swim every year? You know what I mean?
There have been over 1,100 registered sightings as of May of last year.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
yeah, so the elephant theory may have held water if that had been the only sighting. You know, maybe you could have pushed it farther out. But whenever you have that many people claiming that they have seen Nessie in the loch, not everybody's lying.
That's right.
No.
Remember, aliens were fake until the last couple of years.
Yes,
exactly.
You know,
everything's
now
fake.
all of a sudden they're real.
right.
We're running out of conspiracy theories, people.
Everything's fake. Everything's fake until it ain't.
That's right.
That's what we're running into now. Like all the worst conspiracy theories are the ones coming true too. Unfortunately,
isn't that depressing as hell?
Like, why can't we just be like, oh yeah, Nessie's real? Hell yeah, right here. You know, instead it's like, oh no, they're eating babies for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Come on, I'll take Nessie.
Yeah, we can't have the fun ones, but anyway. Let's not talk about things that get us in trouble, I guess.
Or just point blank depressing, Cecil.
It is depressing too.
So,
so what do you guys think Nessie is like after all these years?
I don't know. I mean, the simple fact that you have Native American tribes in the southwestern part of the United States of America who have names for dinosaurs. Yeah. The fact that they have names for dinosaurs means that they were familiar enough with them that they gave them a name.
Yes.
So dinosaurs have not been extinct for as long as what we've been told. If they are in fact extinct, because we still have stories of, thunderbirds and things like that. So I'm going to say, I can't remember what the dinosaur, the big lizard, dragon, whatever in Australia was, but the thing left a track about that big, huge. That's in Australia. There's a guy that I know actually has a cast of it. Dinosaurs have also been reported being seen in Africa in modern times.
Yeah. The Amazon for sure.
The Amazon.
Here's a statistic I heard this week, and I never thought about it, but it makes so much sense. Okay, NASA's budget is $24 billion. NOAA's budget is only $6 billion. That's almost 5 times as much.
Wow.
What have they done in space in the last however long? And we've
Morgana,
still not explored what 90% of the oceans.
Morgana, we've had meteorites falling hitting Earth here lately.
Yeah. That happened in Ohio.
Well, evidently there were things above me earlier today. I did
Yes.
get a text talking about that. But it just, like I said, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, why would NASA's budget be that much more when we're obviously not doing anything space related right now? But we have an entire Earth of oceans that who knows what's in them.
Right.
We got
because we don't have the budget.
We have land out here that we don't even know what's in it. Like not as like a civilized, if you call it civilized society. You know, you have like people that's never came out of those forests that live within there, but we don't know what's out there. Going back
to the Mammoth Caves.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know.
I sent an interesting picture to you all the other day. I think I might have just sent it to Tully.
Was that you in the ocean?
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. So there's this place where we used to go to out in Clay County, Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky. And they have this little sign now. Let me drag this over. I didn't realize I wasn't sharing my screen. This little sign right now. White noise syndrome. And what this is for a bat disease that's killing hibernating bats. Now, the funny thing about this is, do you guys remember the emerald stone that I showed you?
Yes.
That looked like it was carved and things like that. And I said there was a cave up the creek from it.
Yeah.
Where they had like rumors where they had like armed guards and stuff. Well, now they just have this warning you about going into caves, about getting all these poor little bats sick.
Yeah.
And that's right in the middle. And apparently they're supposed to be African bats, which are also in Mammoth Cave.
Yeah. You see, that's you find the endangered species, then you can push about whatever laws of protection you want to.
And then we send this badass vehicle too. I just want to show you
that picture this week.
So the bat could be the excuse that nobody would really question too much.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're wanting to protect something else, just like the owl out in the West Coast, it shut down, no telling how many jobs, forest land, and all that other stuff. Just like the American, sometimes you'll find a salamander, sometimes you can find a certain type of flower, and they're endangered because they only grow in certain areas and stuff like that. I mean, at one time, even the American burying beetle was on the endangered species list.
Oh.
Yeah.
The world, man.
Yeah.
But have y'all ever heard the time slip of Boyd Street?
Let's go into that one.
So Liverpool, mid 1990s. This is a fairly recent one. A man named Frank was walking down Bold Street with a friend when they were heading to a bookstore. Nothing unusual, just a normal day in a busy city. But as they stepped onto the street, something shifted. The air felt wrong. I think we might have covered this recently, actually, on a different show. The shops look older, not abandoned, just out of time. Frank noticed a store he'd never seen before. Curious, he stepped inside. Inside, the shelves were filled with items that didn't make sense. Old packaging, unfamiliar brands, labels that looked decades out of date. The cashier looked at him, and Frank realized, I don't belong here, he says to himself. He stepped back outside, and just like that, everything snapped right back in place. Modern shops, traffic noise, all this good stuff. His friend claimed nothing ever happened, but Frank wasn't the only one. Over the years, multiple people have reported the same thing happening to them on Bold Street, walking into different versions of the past, sometimes only for seconds, sometimes long enough to interact with not ghosts, not a memory, but people, a place, briefly out of time. What do you think about that? Do you think that's just like that might be an epicenter of somewhere where time just happens to cross over every once in a while?
It could be. I was hoping that you were going to say this happened in the 1960s, and that's where the original Paul went.
It might be.
Nice try.
He might have just walked into Bowl Street and never came out. You know, he might have walked back into the 1800s. That's a fun one. I'm probably convinced Totally let me do an episode over that, and he said, "How are you going to do a full episode over that?" Like, it is a full episode, man. You never read the book, bro?
They all came back with beards. Wonder why.
Yeah, very strange. Very strange.
Okay.
So here's one that I've been familiar with for years, but then I find that not everyone is. It's very much associated with the Fae in Ireland and Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And they're called the Slua. And it translates into the hosts of the dead. But they're not really ghosts. They're generally considered much darker. They are considered dark fae. But they're said to be the spirits of people who were unwanted in life and unwelcome in death. The unbaptized, the unforgiven, the ones who didn't belong anywhere, and instead of resting, they gather. So they don't walk the earth like most spirits do. They travel on the wind, literally. People describe them as a flock or a swarm moving across the night sky, often coming from the west, which in Celtic tradition is tied to death in the other world. You wouldn't always see them at first. You'd hear them. It's like a rush of air or a strange keening sound. Voices carried at the edge of understanding. And by the time you realize what you were hearing, it's already too late, because they're generally not just passing through. There are stories that say if they find an open window or door, they can enter a home and take a soul with them. Not always the person you'd expect either. Sometimes the sick, but sometimes the dying, but sometimes just somebody. And that's why in parts of the Highlands, it was tradition to keep windows and doors closed on certain nights, especially on the western side of the house. You weren't just shutting out the cold, you were shutting them out. And then it gets really more unsettling because they don't really behave like vengeful spirits. They don't haunt a place. They don't seek justice or anything like that. They're really described as indifferent and almost mechanical in the way that they move, like a drifting host. It's like a current of lost souls. And some versions say there were once human souls that were denied entry into heaven, forced to wander forever. And then when you start moving into the Fae stories, they are also a part of the Dark Fae court, and the Wild Hunt is basically the group that you would call in, like, you've reached the end, you've lost everything and you have nothing left to lose. You would call in the Wild Hunt to go chase down your enemies or do whatever. Well, the Slua was the worst of that group. They're the ones that would come in and do the work even the bad guys didn't want to do.
Wow.
So, and the thing is, it said that most of the time, in a lot of accounts, if you were taken by the Slua, you didn't just die, you actually joined the horde.
Wow. That suck.
I have to tell you that they have always been one of the most fascinating groups to me, because a lot of people look at stuff like that and they're, oh my God, it's so dark. But if you start reading into the folklore and the legend, they're really interesting,
Yeah.
and I've always, that's one of my favored rabbit holes to go down. Even now, like I said, I'll just go start looking up new stuff.
They're called the Slua.
Yeah,
Slua?
Sluagh, Slua.
I'm gonna have to read about that. That's really interesting.
Mhm. Yep.
It almost sounds a little bit like Scientology in a way, though.
Maybe that's where Scientology got their ideas from.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled from a lot of different areas. I'm assuming that might have been one of them.
Does it say how big they are?
I've never really looked because, like I said, and I've even a lot of the fiction stuff that I used to read will, have used that. Let's see if I can find something about this.
And you say these they don't actually haunt or anything like that.
No, they just move in.
And they're kind of just indifferent, or
yes,
they don't have the ability to harm.
No, they don't harm. From everything I've ever read, they do not set out to harm. They simply set out to collect.
Let's collect more souls.
That's interesting because the Rephaim, they're referred to as spirits of the dead in the underworld, sometimes portrayed as sunken or powerless ones in the realm of the dead, contrasted to their earthly strength when they were giants.
Okay.
So that could be the same situation just up there in Ireland. That's a new fear unlocked right there. That's all I want to happen to me is while I'm chilling outside, be swarmed by a group of souls, and then they take me with them.
Careful what you wish for.
I don't wish for it. I don't wish for it. I don't want it to happen.
And the thing is, from what I'm reading here, said that a lot of people visualize it as a swarm, like a swarm of birds or something, but said really they're almost humanoid, but it's, people talk about them having the torn clothing and the pale skin and stuff like that. But then other people say it's like, a 7-foot tall monstrous thing. So I think maybe the interpretation is what you think is there. It could easily be one of those things that, how you think it should look is how it looks.
Yeah. It could be.
Yeah, very interesting group.
Here's a fun game. What would you all want them to look like? What would you all want them to look like?
I've always said that personally, I think hell is an individual thing for each person. And I would love to one day be somebody's hell.
What like his look like muscular firefighters. No, but I don't know. Yeah, the personal that plays true to personal heaven too. Like that's my whole thing. I hope that this hope heaven is similar to how it is in Supernatural, except without the drama. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own room.
I would certainly hope for no drama.
Did you hear that God and the Queen of Hell are actually engaged in real life, and they just had a baby a few months ago? Rowena from Supernatural and Chuck that played God are actually together in real life with a baby. I love that.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, but what's his name? The little dorky guy that ended up being a werewolf is actually married to the vampire guy that Dean hung out with and when he was a vampire.
Yeah, when he was in Purgatory. I forget his name. But yeah,
I can't remember his name off the top of my head either. But I always like those little things. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that the Queen of Hell and God were married with a baby.
Chuck's a good singer, by the way. That guy that played Chuck, he's a good musician. He's a good musician. I wish they'd bring that show back. You ever watch that, Steven? It's kind of blasphemous, but it's still a fun show. It's fun.
I never have watched it. I honestly, I have I sit down and start watching much at all during the week, it's usually not long till I'm dozing off.
It was one of those. I accidentally caught the pilot episode on day one, and it was not really a lot of stuff like that on at the time, and it was just right in my wheelhouse. You know,
Okay.
I don't like the main storyline of Supernatural. Like when they did the storylines, I don't care about that as much as I do like the one-offs, like when they're hunting Jinn.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
vampires, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
The main story though is like Dean's the chosen one to fight Lucifer, who's going to take Sam's body over. I guess that's like the main storyline.
About halfway in. For the first half, it was really about the individual things, because I mean, that's when they came across the
They were looking for their dad.
Yes, their dad was a hunter. He went out and hunted the monsters and stuff, because a demon killed their mother when Sam was a baby.
Oh, yellow.
Yep. Oh, yellow-eyed. But yeah, they had things, you know, I mean, they had cool stories. I mean, they had a little bit of crossover into a lot of the things that like Supernatural. I mean, not Supernatural, X-Files.
Yeah.
Hey, Kinder.
Hey, man.
But you know, they covered a lot of the same stuff like that the X-Files covered, you know, Wendigos, you know, I remember how they covered that. A couple of times they covered stuff that I wanted to choke them over because of the way they pronounce stuff. Like they did a Sam Hain episode that drove me flipping crazy. But you know, it's like,
you might like it.
The damn record the pronunciation.
You might like it, Stephen, because it is mainly just hunting like monsters and stuff, but it does have a strong storyline of like God,
fallen angels, and
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I like it mainly for the hunting. And there was another show that I liked when I was a kid called So Weird. Is on Disney Channel. I don't know if it's still any good. I'm gonna try to find it. There's a little girl that like hunted like ghosts and like aliens and stuff. I always like that.
Did you ever watch the Sci Factor that was created by Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
I loved that. And his father was actually a parapsychologist.
Yeah.
And most of that show came from his dad's notes and stuff.
Really?
Which was cool.
I thought it might have been based on his UFO sighting he had.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's probably in there too, but I just remember when it first came out in an interview with him, you know, him talking about the fact that he got the majority of it from his father's field notes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's how Ghostbusters was founded, I'm pretty sure. I think
that is correct.
Yep.
But, yeah, I remember when he came out with Crystal Head vodka. Okay, I'm a vodka drinker, and I had such high hopes. And I have 2 empty skulls in there, but that is not the best vodka I've ever had.
I've got a full skull sitting in there. It's been sitting in there.
Mine's full of crystals, you know, but
mine's full of what's in it. The seal's still on it.
No, I was going to have it. I was going to drink it. And I did, because I was not going to open that $50 bottle of vodka and not drink it. But yeah.
I'm thinking that for when the asteroid's coming.
What is the new timeline on that?
I don't know. Who knows? I'll walk outside and see it. But anyway, did you all hear about the disappearing village of Dunwich? Oh, what's that?
That's something I'm going to send y'all.
Oh, no.
Is that lithium?
Amethyst crystal.
Okay, cool. That's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, I need to
get
them to you sometime. So
I've got stuff to send y'all too. I just got to get it out of my car to the post office.
And I'm poor. But have you ever heard the disappearing village of Dunwich?
Tell me about the disappearing village of Dunwich.
No, let's hear about that one.
Dunwich was once one of the largest towns in medieval England. Now, most of it's gone, lost to the sea. But locals will tell you it didn't just disappear. It lingers like a stiff fart. Fishermen on quiet nights, you can hear church bells ringing beneath the water. Others say they
Hmm.
see shaped structures visible through the waves when the conditions are just right. There are even stories of people walking the shoreline who suddenly find themselves disoriented, like they stepped somewhere where they shouldn't have. The versions of the town isn't entirely gone. Not a haunting in a traditional sense. More like something that hasn't fully accepted that it is gone. That would be scary. But
Wow.
could you imagine walking the shoreline and just hearing like muffled bells ringing under the waves?
Ooh,
That'd be
Yeah,
terrible.
that would be
crazy.
weird. I mean, that would be like if the town just simply went to is just still there, but they're on the other side of the veil.
Yeah, like it's
He is the wordsmith of our time, Landa.
till he says I can't write.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
Land of
so
casting shade.
Oh Lord. But yeah.
So, what was the name of that town again? Hazel?
Dunwick.
Dunwick.
Dunwich.
I'm gonna have
Dunwick
to
in
do
it.
some more research on
Dunwick.
that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. There's more
So-
to it.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one. No, I don't have more, but there'd be more if you researched it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So, along the cliffs near Tintagel, where the sea doesn't just crash, it pounds like it's trying to break something open. There's a stretch of shoreline locals don't linger on after dark. And it's not because it's dangerous, even though it is, but it's because of what sometimes walks there when the tide pulls back just far enough to expose the black rock beneath. The story goes back to a keeper's cottage that once stood alone upon the cliffs, back when the ship still hugged the coast and storms came in fast and without warning. The keeper, no one remembers his name now, just that he had a daughter, kept the light burning through nights that swallowed whole vessels. It wasn't a lighthouse, not officially, it was just a lantern. It was high and steady, meant to guide the sailors away from the worst of the rocks. Well, one night, the storm rolled in harder than anything the coast had seen in years. The wind was screaming, waves were climbing higher than the cliffs themselves, and out of that chaos, a ship, close enough to see, but too far to save. The keeper tried to raise the light higher and brighter, anything to cut through the storm, but something went wrong. Some say the wind took it, others say the lantern simply just went out. So by morning, the wreckage was scattered along the rocks below with no survivors. But then things started to change. The daughter, people said she stopped speaking first, then she stopped sleeping, then she stopped leaving the edge of the cliff altogether. She would stand there at dusk, staring out into the water as if waiting for something to come back. And every night, without fail, she carried a lantern down the narrow path to the shore, not to guide the ships, but just to look. Well, one evening, she never came back up. They found the lantern the next day, smashed among the rocks, no sign of her. The sea had taken what it wanted, and that was that, or at least that's where it should have ended. But it didn't, because not long after, the sailors began reporting something strange along that stretch of coast. On nights when the fog rolled in low and thick, when the horizon disappeared and the sea feels too close, they'd see a light moving along the shoreline below the cliffs, not steady like a beacon, but searching. And then sometimes they swear they saw her, a figure in pale clothing walking the edge where the waves almost reach, holding a lantern that burns too dim to guide anyone, except maybe yourself. They say that she doesn't look out for at the ships. She looks down into the water like she's still trying to find something that was lost that night. But then the part that keeps the story alive, a few captains claim that if you follow the light, if you trust it, thinking it's a guide, you don't steer away from the rocks, you steer right into them. Like whatever's walking on the shoreline isn't trying to save anyone anymore. It's just reenacting that moment that went wrong over and over again.
Oh, like that.
Yeah,
That's
I like
great.
this kind of stories though.
I did too. Oh Lord, we're coming up on an hour. You guys want to call it, or you want to keep going? I got plenty. You got plenty. It's up to y'all.
Y'all,
I want to get one in since
so
What's that?
I have to be on the road at 5
I
a.m.
do want to get one.
You got a good one?
Wow.
Okay, yes, do.
Yeah, let's do one more
Let's-
and we'll call it a night.
Hey, Nick.
Let's talk about the woodwoose.
A woodwoose. What is that?
It is Europe's version of Bigfoot.
Mm.
It's a wild man of the woods from the medieval European times. A club-wielding creature living in untamed forest, representing a bridge between human and animal. They appeared in art, tapestries, literature as symbols of nature, of wild nature. They're bipedal, naked. You can see their bare hands and their bare feet is what it is. And there are a few years ago, I guess I was kind of in association with a group from the Isles over there who were actively trying to see them. Most of them are described as between 6-7 feet tall. Also called the Green Man. So, but that's the Bigfoot of the British Isles in Europe. In Russia they're called the Almas, and South America the Mapamguari. So they're everywhere.
That's cool. I guess I never really associated the Green Man with Bigfoot, but it makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Yeah,
They're hairy all over. Is the other thing that goes along with it.
that's like me.
So do you think that where they get the imagery of the Green Man, with the leaves and stuff, is that they're seeing faces in the forest?
Yeah. And oftentimes that's a very accurate depiction of what you get. Most of the time, if you do get to see one for a few seconds, that's usually what you get to see is the face. It's not very often you get to see the whole body.
Cool.
different green. It's kind of like the grass man, Ohio grass man. I'm sure there's some other people who knew somebody they could call the grass man.
That was my nickname till I was 25 years old. Let's see. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and round it up. I'm trying to get something pulled up here for prompt real quick, but it's not wanting to cooperate with me. Anyway,
That's not acceptable.
Not acceptable, but we'll just move right along. So promotional stuff. If you guys want to help out, go and buy something from the shop. We got hats now. We got hats for days, all kinds of them, beanies. We got Tully Stong for $100. We got bumper stickers. We got the Where's the Real Steve shirt. New design is coming soon from me. So as soon as that comes up, this one will no longer be available. So purchase now. But yep, that's our shop. You can get there by going to linktree.com/wearingthefolk. And you can get to the exclusive merch. You can find us everywhere through here. Yeah, they are big hats. I'll tell you what, this one right here, let me find it. This one right here you can get as a trucker hat, and you don't have to get camo. You can get this one, which is the one I'm going to order when I get me some money. Also have the black and white ones, and you just got the straight up black ones. But yeah, they fit big old heads. They fit mine. I believe. I hope. And then you also have Cosmic Crumbs, linktree.com/cosmic spelled with a 0 crumbs. This is a little adventure you can go on with Tully every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on the Cosmic Crumbs YouTube channel, X, Rumble, and Facebook, I believe. You can share your stories here. If you have any strange offbeat stories that you don't mind sharing with him, please sign up and put them right here. I've left some in here, but he hasn't read them. I think he doesn't like Bigfoot erotica. I've been dipping my toes a little.
I sent him one and he wouldn't read it. So
you can share recipes. If you have any good recipes for food or anything that you want to share with the world, go ahead and put it right here. you can sign up for the mailing list. You can even choose the next adventure. Let's go ahead and see what this is. Let's see what this is. Oh, what's your best true spooky story? What's the most X-Files thing? Glitch in the Matrix. Submit. It's easy as that. And between the notes, Morgana has some stuff going on, so it's delayed, but it is coming, and here's the website for it.
It is coming, guys. Sorry, life happened.
Life happens, and life happens to us all. And sometimes it's a bummer, sometimes it's not a bummer.
That's
We
right.
just keep on rolling. But
That's
right
okay. Currently, I have over 20 years worth of content for that.
here, nice. Now, what I was wanting to show you all too was the channel that my wife and I are currently working on, but it doesn't want to pull up on YouTube right now. I guess because we don't have any videos, but it'll be called Till Death Do We Watch. And I'll let you all know when that comes out. First episode is going to drop April 20th. We've had to pivot on the movie that we're going to watch. We was going to do a review of Don't Go Into the Woods, but then I was reminded it's a certain holiday for a certain group of people. April 20th is, so we need to do something that kind of touches base with them. So we're trying to figure that out.
You're not going to do House?
Well, I don't know. Evil Bong was mentioned. So go check all that stuff out, y'all. And Steven, you got anything going on? You gonna be on anything soon?
No, I don't think so. That's not
Give me
that I
one
know of.
minute and I will
Like-
tell you what next week's supposed to be.
I'm gonna ask you again next Thursday, of course, because I'm gonna forget. Even if you tell us the same day, I'm gonna be like, "What?"
Oh, I know. I know. I completely know this, but I'm still going to tell our people. That way they'll know.
All right, good deal.
Okay, hang on. I should have had this up already, so I do apologize.
It's all good.
La 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 la, la 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 la. And I was looking at it earlier today. Oh, the most powerful gangs in the world.
Ooh.
We can't do that one yet because I ain't done with ICP stuff. No, I'm
Okay.
joking. No, I'm joking. We'll do that. Most powerful gangs in the world.
Yeah.
That
That's a Tully edition, so I'm not sure about that one.
Mm.
I'll
That'd
figure
be
it
a
out.
fun research. That'd be a fun one to research.
Mhm.
I don't know if we're going back to 7 yet. I know Tully's still going to be out for a little bit longer too. And Morgana, I know you're kind of on the fly right now with things going on.
Yep.
If it's just me and Steven, I think we could do 2 hours, but we just don't want to. so it'd probably be 8. But you can come and check us out at 7, see if we're around. But as soon as everybody gets lined out, with all the things that's occurring in our lives, best we can, then we'll get back to the 2-hour episodes and whatnot.
Yep.
I know you guys miss seeing us for 2 hours at least every week, but things happen. I needed a break, honestly.
Definitely needed the news break.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
news break. We could go back to it, but man, it's just
Why?
yeah.
They're not even trying to hide the bullshit anymore. It's there. You just have to go look.
The only way I'm determining on if things are going to pump, and every 2 cents the gas goes up, I'm like, no, I'm still not getting better.
No. But hey, on the upside, here you go. I got an additional $200 back on my taxes that year. I pay that much more in gas and groceries a week, but I did get $200 more on my taxes.
I would be so happy if it came back and it said, we're square, we're even. That's all I want, just break
Okay,
even.
I'm going to be honest here. See, so the only reason we get something back is we both file as single, unmarried, and have additional money taken out every week from our paychecks. If it weren't for that, I would not get Jack back. A $50 check from Tubi. I thought Tubi was free.
She got a $50 check from them.
I know.
What are you doing on Tubi, Landa?
Scott and Alan recommend Tubi regularly on Watching Weird.
Tubi's all right. Really, it's free.
Oh, class action suit for data breach. Maybe I should have been watching Tubi all these years.
Damn.
I got $40 for something, but it wasn't Tubi.
Did I miss out on the Gmail lawsuit? What?
I must have missed it.
I'm trying to remember which one I got one for. I think it was through AT&T, if I'm not mistaken.
I got one.
Yeah, AT&T.
I got one many years ago. I think it was Straight Talk for like $1.40. Awesome. It's over the false advertisement of like their data or something like
Yeah. My favorite one is they're not claiming they did anything wrong. They're just paying out $40 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. You don't pay people off if you didn't do anything wrong in any situation. If you pay people off, that in my life means you're guilty. So.
I'm Straight Talk through and through, though. I've been Straight Talk since day one because I had an AT&T bill that was miraculously $300 more than it was supposed to be, and I said, "I'm never dealing with you again," and I've stayed true to
that. Back forever ago when I still had a landline phone, and when you still had to pay so much per hour for internet, so yeah, that's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
I got a bill for like $400, and it was legit because I didn't realize that. Okay, yes, you have local calling, but depending on where it's at is how much per minute you pay for long distance. Yeah, and so that first month of internet was through the roof. So I called them to talk to them about making payment arrangements, and she's like, "Well, I just don't know what you expect me to do about this." I said, "Well, as far as my part, you can turn that son of a bitch off." And do you know she did immediately?
Do you still place collect calls in jail? That just hit me. Is collect calls still a thing?
Didn't the Lion King call you collect?
Huh?
The Tiger King? Lion King.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he called you collect.
I forgot about that. I didn't have to say anything.
Huh.
But
maybe it works different.
I remember when I was in jail, like they was like, "You want to call somebody?" I was like, "Ain't nobody call." Like, ain't nobody going to accept these charges. You know what I mean?
What's funny is when you get one of those calls every like 3 minutes, this is a call from an inmate at a facility in the background. No, I just accepted charges from some stranger at the beginning that you said, this is a call from an inmate.
Well, that one time when I went for a few days, when I turned 18, I came home after being there for a few days, and my dad said, "I ain't seen you around." I was like, yeah, what?
Yeah, Dad, I was out of pocket. My bad. That's terrible, Cecil. I mean, I would like to say I would not be that parent nowadays, but I probably would.
But anyway, I was an adult,
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love seeing y'all come around and whatnot. See y'all next week. Tune in next Thursday on at Cosmic Crumbs. Check Tully out. He's cooking and chilling is what he's doing. And thank you all so much for watching us, because we are all watching you.